Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. As you come in, go ahead and take a look at the Nearpod link, as well as the assignment for today that's posted on Google Classroom. And whenever you get onto the Nearpod link, go ahead and start into the bellwork question for today. Our bellwork question for today is review from yesterday's lesson. So we are in day 8 of our American imperialism unit. And today's bellwork is, which of the following was not awarded to America by Spain following the Spanish-American War? So go ahead and answer that while students come in. At this point, students will be answering this bellwork question individually until we are ready to start up into our class, in which I'd bring them back and say, right, so ladies and gentlemen, we are going to go ahead and get started and review into our bellwork, and I am going to pull up our poll for today. And again, the question was, which was not given to America by Spain following the Spanish-American War? The poll says a majority of you selected Hawaii, which is absolutely correct. Following the Spanish-American War, the United States acquired the Philippines, Guam, Puerto Rico, and Cuba. Hawaii, not on that list. Now, you may be wondering why I pulled that into our bellwork for today, and that is because over the course of the next couple of days, we are going to be getting organized and getting into the annexation of Hawaii, which is the next step on our list in American imperialism in our unit. We have 2 objectives for today. One of them, you're going to be using primary and secondary sources to analyze opinions of various groups, whether or not Hawaii should be annexed by the United States. And in addition to that, you'll be filling out a exit ticket after using your research and connect Hawaiian annexation to the Spanish-American War. So taking a look at our roadmap for today, so you can see we've already finished up with reviewing our bellwork submissions. We're going to preview a brief history of Hawaii. We're going to get into our annexation of Hawaii primary and secondary source analysis and finish it up with an exit ticket for today. So just some brief history regarding the United States and Hawaii. The entire Kingdom of Hawaii was first established in 1810 with the help of Great Britain and France. On the trade-off with that help, Hawaii would allow for specific trade agreements between just Great Britain and France. Even though they were established in 1810, the first United States citizens that were on the Kingdom of Hawaii was around 1790. So we're looking at about 20 years before the Kingdom of Hawaii was first established. In addition to that, there were a lot of United States businesses that established themselves in Hawaii, whether it be whaling ships, pineapple, or sugarcane for cash crops, after the king allotted for private land ownership for outsiders. Following a trade tariff that sacked American businesses on the island, they were looking to seek annexation to keep their profits. This tariff had taxed imported goods into the United States. And even though these were American goods getting into the United States, they were coming from the Kingdom of Hawaii, which was not possessed by America at this time. What questions, comments, concerns do you have for me? Okay, excellent. So if you go ahead into Google Classroom, you are going to see our assignment for today. We're going to take about 25 minutes on this assignment. We're going to do the first one together, and you are going to be analyzing some primary sources and secondary sources, and you're going to be categorizing them as either pro-annexation or anti-annexation. In addition to that, you need to be using evidence and reasoning to state why that source belongs in that category. So we are going to take a look at the first one together. We're on this first document right here. I'm going to pull it up in Nearpod. And the first question states, from records of the EPA, that the island of Kauai is known as the Garden Isle because of its lush vegetation and fertile soil. Chief crops are sugarcane and pineapple. So based on that information there, this poll question is up. I want you to read this over once or twice more and go ahead and give that a vote. Pro-annexation or anti-annexation for the secondary source. I'm going to give you a minute or so. At this point, students will be working individually, reading over this source once or twice, and then giving a guess or I'm sorry, an educated guess as to whether or not this is pro-annexation or anti-annexation. I'd pull them back together by saying, okay, so it looks like we've got just about all of our submissions in, and checking the polls, a number of you said that this is pro-annexation, and I completely agree with you. So I'm going to go ahead and select document 1 as pro-annexation. And just within the Zoom chat, can you guys go ahead and just waterfall, whether it's public or private comments, give me some reasons as to why this would be a pro-annexation document. At this point, I'd allow for about 30 seconds for students to type their responses in which I would bring them back together and say, I'm seeing a lot of really good things here. Yes, to feed Americans. And helps with the American economics. Very good. And I saw somebody had posted lush vegetation and fertile soil, which is absolutely correct. That's a great piece of evidence to pull out from that primary source. So kudos to you guys. Very good. So ladies and gentlemen, do we need to do an additional one, or do you feel comfortable with the assignment for today? Okay, well, excellent. I'm going to give you guys the remaining 20 minutes in your preferred work groups or individually to be completing these assignments. I will be circulating. Please feel free to ask me any questions if you're confused with anything. Thank you. Okay, so at this point, students are either in preferred work groups in Zoom or we're within the main session for me, and I'm circulating, answering questions, and popping into different breakout rooms, assessing progress, as well as looking on Google Classroom to see their progress without even interrupting them. I would then bring them back and I would say, okay, so ladies and gentlemen, very, very quickly, if I can have your attention, just give me a thumbs up or thumbs down. Overall, where do you see a number of these documents, either pro-annexation or anti-annexation? Very quickly. Thumbs up for pro, thumbs down for anti. I would be assessing, and then I would see that most of them would be having their thumbs up, and I would say exactly they are pro-annexation, other than lush vegetation, fertile soil. So feeding Americans and American economics. What other reasons are you seeing for Hawaiian annexation? In which I would be waiting for students to waterfall those questions, whether it's a public or private comment. And as they're coming in, I would say, absolutely, we would be seeing, I definitely saw a document that said manifest destiny, definitely a review from last year. In addition to that, we see if the US doesn't, another country will. Absolutely correct. And also too, I saw somebody who said military capabilities, and that is a great one. Can you show me on your fingers, which document did you guys see anything dealing with the military in? I would be scanning and looking for students to take a look and give me the number 2, in which I would respond. Yes, a number of you are saying document 2. Which is absolutely correct. So you will definitely need document 2 for the primary source within your exit ticket today. And that's where we're going to end for today, ladies and gentlemen. If you take a look, there's one final thing that we need to complete, which is your exit ticket. So using the knowledge from the land gained by America during the Spanish-American War, make an argument how annexing Hawaii would benefit America's military stability. So I'm going to give you the last couple of minutes to finish this in class. At this point, there would be about 1 or 2 minutes left in class, in which I would pull everybody back and say, okay, so ladies and gentlemen, we are finishing up for today. Please don't forget that tomorrow we're going to continue on with the idea of the annexation of Hawaii. And if you have not submitted your exit tickets, I am going to ask that you have those turned in via private comment on Google Classroom. But other than that, have a fantastic day, and I will see you all tomorrow. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. Oops. Sorry, it's my timer. Sorry about that. So within this lesson, I had used the gradual release of teacher responsibility by modeling what the expectations were for the first part of the assignment before giving them, allowing them to work in their preferred work groups. In addition to that, in terms of differentiation, there was no math to this lesson. So there was nothing really to alter with the students that had math, IEPs and exceptionalities. For the reading comprehension exceptionalities, I had actually eliminated one entire primary source for them to take a look at, so that they could focus more time on less sources. In addition to that, document 8, instead of having them read a very flowery and difficult to modernize poem, I had actually included a political cartoon for students to take a look at instead, so that they can visually come up with a rational idea as to whether or not that document is pro or anti-annexation. In addition to that, that idea of preferred work groups, a lot of times my students organically are, those students with exceptionalities are placed with a student that is a peer model and can talk them through some assignments. And for the students that remain within the main group session, I'm able to pull them off into a breakout room as well and talk to them if they have any questions, or they can utilize the private comment questions and questions that students ask in the main session to gauge their understanding and comprehension throughout this assignment itself. In addition to that, the overall objectives were met. You could see them at the beginning of the slideshow regarding the roadmap and the objectives. The first objective was obtained via the primary source analysis of the and organizing them in the form of a T-chart, as well as the second objective being obtained through the exit ticket. The really great thing about Nearpod is that I am able to access that information in real time once it's submitted, whether it's the polls or the exit tickets. They also get sent to me at the end of the presentation, and I can use that data to further student understanding and check and see if there's something that I need to go back on for students. Thank you very much. I really hope you enjoyed.